Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is the Progressive Vibe with your host, Dottie. Today is April 11th, 2021. This is season 4, episode 1. And today's title, The Battle Between Voting Rights and Voting Restrictions. I hope everyone's been doing well. I've missed you guys. It's been a long 2 weeks, but nonetheless, thank you guys for continuing to share the show, reach out in support for the most part. Honestly, I can't say how humbled and how appreciative that I am of the feedback and just the support for people that not only my family but people that don't even know me has been so supportive, and I am very appreciative of that. I hope everyone has had, since the last time we talked, has had a good couple of weeks. I hope everything's been well. I hope everybody's been staying safe, and if you've gotten vaccinated. I hope everyone has I hope everyone's been doing good. I've been doing good. I've been pretty much just keeping up with the news as my podcast demands, but other than that, I've been hanging with friends and family, and hopefully we're starting to round the curve in COVID, but you just never know, because I would need a whole episode just to talk about the COVID-19 situation, the current COVID-19 situation, because it's so much stuff that's being factored in. Are we going to round the corner on this and reach herd immunity, or are we going to backtrack and potentially start from scratch all over again? But again, guys, that's a whole nother episode for a whole nother day. This episode, we're talking about, as I said, the battle between voting rights and voting restrictions. But before we get into today's episode, I wanted to do my podcast plugins, and we only have one for today, and that one is by WordPress.com. So if you want to grow your audience with a podcast website, turn it into a blog, or just simply, have your shows and how to get in touch with you and things like that, go to WordPress.com because they make it quite easy, and it's pretty cool, to say the least. On that, also, the last time we talked, I mentioned to you guys that we were going to do I was going to launch a podcast website on WordPress.com, and that has became so. So yeah, guys, check it out if you would like to. It's pretty simple, but I'm glad that I made it, because it's pretty informative. And hopefully when you guys check it out too, you'll think the same. But if you have something that you want to discuss on the podcast, you can use the hashtag TPVibe, that's TPVIBE on Twitter, or send a message from the contact form on the show's website. And I'm going to warn you before I give you guys the show's address. It's pretty long, so beware. So the website is The Progressive Vibe 184970366.wordpress.com. If you want to stay in touch with the show, you can enter your email address in the stay in touch box. That's going to be on the podcast website. And again, the podcast website, The Progressive Vibe 184970366.wordpress.com. That's to get every new episode delivered to your inbox. So that's a pretty cool feature that is on the website, guys. And one last one, if you want to help us make the show, you can donate to the show if you like by making any amount contribution as you wish. You will help us make the stories matter more. And again, you can do all of this on the podcast website. One more time, the Progressive Vibe 184970366.wordpress.com. I will attach the link with the episode so you guys can just click to it, and it should just take you straight there. So on that note, guys, let's get into today's episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to the main show. So let's get right into this. So the reason I named this episode The Battle Between Voting Rights and Voting Restrictions is because it seems like we have a dynamic where you have one party that is trying to make it harder for people to vote, and it seems like you have the other party trying to make it relatively easier to vote. And so I'm not trying to pick sides on matters. I'm only specifically talking about right and wrong. So if I had to agree with a party, it's going to obviously be the Democrats because they're not trying to make it harder on people to vote than the Republicans are. And so it always seems like it's always this argument of, well, you're just a Democrat, so you're going to naturally pick with them, or so and so and so. But I try to get people to realize that if the Republicans were making it easier to vote and the Democrats were making it harder to vote, then I would agree with the Republicans. So it's not like it's a thing of always having a side that you quote unquote, die for or always stand with or anything like that. I am an independent voter. I consider myself an independent voter. And so a lot of stuff that I take into consideration has to do with right versus wrong. That's it. Right versus wrong. If the Democrats are doing something wrong, I am going to hold the Democrats as just as accountable that I hold the Republicans. Those are the only two parties that hold the key to power in the United States. So obviously, if you want to simplify it down, you have to pick a side, I guess. But me being an independent voter, if it's something either sides are doing wrong, I'm going to call them out for it. If it's something that a party is doing right, I'm going to say it was a good thing. And so I'm not specifically talking to my listeners. I'm just talking in general because I've heard the conversation. So I just wanted to clarify that. We have two articles that I wanted to bring to you guys. I'm going to just read bits and pieces of it. I'm going to post the articles as I always do with the episodes so you guys can check it out yourselves. And again, guys, feel free to disagree or agree. I'm interested to hear what you guys think after the episode has concluded. Again, as I said in the intro, I have a website now, so you guys can keep in touch or stay in touch by filling out some information within that website. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this article. The first one, it is by NPR. The article was published April 9th, 2021. And I think the second article that we got, I think that was published April 6th. So I'm going backwards, but you're gonna get why I'm going backwards because they just go hand in hand. But anyway, the article reads Missouri's long fight over voting rules is now part of a larger national battle. So it goes to say the same day last month that Georgia's legislature passed a controversial new voting bill, Missouri's Republican-led House approved one of its own. It would impose strict voter ID and other requirements on voting. Both bills are part of a wave of measures proposed across country after the 2020 election and reflect a deep partisan divide over who has access to the polls and how. The divide is not new, but the sides have become increasingly entrenched. And it goes on to say voting rights activists who gathered recently on the steps of the Missouri Capitol in Jefferson City know they're part of a much bigger struggle. They represent groups, the NAACP, the ACLU, the League of Women Voters, Black faith organizations, and others that are fighting restrictive voting laws across the country. It was a quote says, "We are here today to say no. No to voter suppression, no to photo ID, and no to efforts to silence the voices of Missouri's voters any longer," end quote. Called out Denise Lieberman, who runs the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. The group was formed 15 years ago when Missouri was one of the first states that tried to enact strict voter ID requirements. The Missouri effort has been tangled in legal challenges ever since. Goes on to say, Republicans now want to strike a provision that gives voters the option of using a non-photo ID after a court struck down the most recent version. It continues to say, this long battle has assumed a new sense of urgency after unprecedented challenges to the results of last year's elections. Democrats and especially voters of color say bills being pushed in Missouri and in Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and elsewhere are part of a broad assault on democracy. They note Missouri Republicans are also trying to impose new limits on ballot initiatives and street protests. And so, guys, yeah, I'm going to, again, post this article on here so you guys can read the rest of the article. I'm going to read two more parts of it, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on this. So the last two parts, it says, the Reverend Darrell Gray, a coalition member, sees the GOP effort as a direct response to recent Democratic success at the polls with the help of Black and brown voters. He says, quote, "It is deliberate, it is strategic, and it is all about securing and maintaining political power," end quote. He said before leading the crowd of about 30 activists in a chant, quote, "No more Jim Crow, no more Jim Crow," end quote. They shouted before entering the Capitol. Let's see. I'm gonna read this last part, guys. It's still a lot more, but I want to read the last of this before it splits off. So it says, inside, the partisan split was on clear display. Democrats were the ones wearing masks, Republicans did not. And while the protesters were outside chanting, Republicans were hearing from gun rights activists in the rotunda. They included Patricia and Mark Minklowski, the armed St. Louis couple who were criminally charged after they confronted Black Lives Matter protests outside their homes last year. So they're talking about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but the reason I thought this article was mainly important because it really, really highlights the agenda to me that the Republicans are Republican governors, particularly Republican governors in these states that are trying to push these laws through that are going to make it harder for people of color to vote. That seems like the intent behind these bills. I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to really think of a reason why else would they think that the elections aren't secure or this will help minimize the chance of fraud in the elections. And as we know, guys, there was no evidence of any fraud in the last election. There just wasn't. They went to court on it and they found that it was no fraud in the elections. Joe Biden got more votes than Donald Trump. That's just the way it went. And you got a bunch of people out there, particularly right wingers, that think that or is mad to me, or was mad that Donald Trump lost and, wanted to say that, but Joe Biden isn't their president or whatever the case may be. And again, like you can say all day, like, I don't think that Donald Trump was my president. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I thought that he didn't win the election in 2016 because the process that we always go through every 4 years, the general election where people vote, he got more votes than Hillary Clinton. And he was the president. Now, his ideals and how he did things, they didn't support a president who I could get behind. So therefore, in my eyes, he wasn't a president who represented me. So therefore, I didn't think that he was my president. But I can't sit up here and act like I wasn't acknowledged. I acknowledge that he was the president when he won the election. I mean, so it's a whole different story when you got like people storming the Capitol and inciting an insurrection and killing police officers and killing people and trying to take U.S. Congress people, um, you know, uh, and kidnap them, or have them hostage, and just all this stuff that went down because they were upset that their president lost the election. The person who they idolized lost the election. And so to me, those are just two different types of things. And so I don't know, guys. What do you guys think of the first article? Again, I'm going to post it with the episode so you guys can check out the whole thing. But to me, I just don't like what else would I think that these new measures that the Missouri Republican-led House is trying to do with these provisions, with these bills. I mean, I have to think that okay, well, they're just trying to suppress the vote. It doesn't really. If anybody can find out what else it does other than suppressing a if anybody can find out what it means to, if other than suppressing a specific group of people in their state, then let me know. Until then, I'm going to keep it as it disproportionately affects people of color and poor people. That's just my conclusion on it. But we're going to take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we're going to have the second article, which is By the Hill. We're going to have that coming up for you guys next. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome to the event forum of the program. We're going to have the second half of the program after the social media break. Hope you guys didn't mind the switch up. So we're going to have the second article I was going to bring to you guys after our little social media break. So hope you guys enjoy. So here's off Twitter. Warren Gunnell says, only in America would a $13 billion increase in annual military spending be considered, quote, modest or, quote, nominal. We are already spending more on the military than the next 12 nations combined. The Pentagon can't even pass an audit. A $753 billion defense budget is morally obscene. I totally agree with everything he said there. It's just... It's amazing how we're able to pass all these annual military budget bills, but we can't bring the people health care, universal health care, minimum wage increases, cancellation of student loan debt, things like that. Like, I'm so tired of hearing that. How are you going to pay for it, or how are you going to get so-and-so to sign on to it? And it's so frustrating because they all seem to get what they want to get passed done. And when I say them, I mean the politicians in government. Obviously, it's not everybody who doesn't want to see universal health care and the increase in minimum wage, but let's be real, everybody pretty much signs this military budget bill. Everybody pretty much signs it, and it just kills me when we have a bill for the people something that's going to structurally change their lives for the better, it's always a fight for it, and it's never any kind of mutual ground. It seems like it's always an excuse of why it can't get done on both sides, and it's pretty frustrating. But I hope that this lady, who I'm about to read to you guys now, people like her, and hopefully more to come, will be able to change government for the better. This is retweeted by Nina Turner, Democracy for America. It says, Nina Turner is ready to be a champion and coalition builder for the U.S., not corporate millionaires. We're so honored to fight alongside you for change. I totally echo those sentiments. If you guys didn't know who Nina Turner was, she's running in Ohio, I think in the 11th district. She has a special election that's coming up, if I'm not mistaken, in August. She served in the campaign, I think was a campaign manager. I'm so sorry if I'm getting this wrong, but I think she was the campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. I know she was a part of the campaign when Bernie Sanders was running for president, but I'm trying to think of the correct title that she had, and I want to say it was the campaign manager. She was over Bernie Sanders' campaign, and so her ideals and her message is powerful. She is so authentic and genuine and just so wholesome and true to the things that she believed that the American people wants. And I'm definitely a fan of Nina Turner. I've definitely contributed to her campaign. She takes no corporate PAC money. It's definitely just a grassroots movement that she's creating. She's done everything from the bottom up, knocking on doors, small dollar donations, and just getting the progressive message out there. So I'm very, very hopeful and optimistic of her chances of winning in her district. So yeah, guys, that's been the Vent Forum. I hope you like what you heard. We're going to come back with the second half of the show. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I hope everyone enjoyed the Vent Forum of the program in the last segment. I think that's how I'm going to do it from now on. Do one portion, then do a little social media break, then do the last portion. Speaking of the last portion, welcome to the second half of the program. I'm going to read this article and I'm going to post this alongside the first article because they really, really coincide with each other, in my opinion. It goes to say, by the way, this article was by The Hill. It was wrote by Tal Axelrod, and it was published April 6, 2021. The title is Atlanta Mayor Issues Order to Expand Ballot Access. So I'm going to read some of this, guys, and share my thoughts and analysis afterwards, so bear with me. It goes on to say Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, Democrat, on Tuesday issued an executive order taking aim at the voting restrictions enacted by the state that have dominated political debate for weeks. Bottoms' order directs the city's chief equity officer to craft a, quote, plan of action to mitigate the impact on city of Atlanta residents of the voting restrictions that Governor out of Georgia, Brian Kemp, Republican, signed into law in March. Among the actions the official can take are providing training to staff members and information on early absentee and in-person voting, directing residents on how to gain the proper ID to vote by mail, and working with private sector and advocacy groups to implement related public service announcements. It goes on to read, the move is the latest by Democrats to increase ballot access while fighting back against the restrictions, which have been the center of a political battle and garnered pushback from lawmakers, private companies, and the sports world. Mayor Bottom said in a quote, the voting restrictions of SB 202 will disproportionately impact Atlanta residents, particularly in communities of color and minority groups. It goes on to say, Kemp's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment from The Hill, who produced this article that I'm reading to you guys now. It says the bill Kemp signed into law will put into effect new photo ID requirements for absentee voting, limitations on the number of drop-off ballot boxes, shorter periods in which Georgia residents can apply for mail-in ballots, and prohibitions on local governments from mailing unsolicited absentee ballot application forms. Democrats and voting it goes on to say Democrats and voting rights advocates have seized on the restrictions contained in the new law, with President Biden labeling it, quote, Jim Crow 2.0. I tend to agree with President Biden in this. It says the law has already been hit with a number of lawsuits, but national debate over the restrictions reached a fever pitch last week when MLB announced it was moving its July 13th All-Star game out of Georgia in protest of the law. The game has been relocated to Denver. Coca-Cola CEO James Quincy has also called the restrictions, quote, unacceptable and a step backwards, while Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian said the law, quotes, includes provisions that will make it harder for unrepresented voters, particularly black voters, to exercise their constitutional right to elect representatives, end quote. Last little part of this, guys, Republicans have torn into the companies, accusing them of buying into Democrats' arguments about the law. Kemp has said the law is, quote, worthy or worth the boycotts as well as the lawsuits, end quote, and that he, quote, won't back down. It's a little bit more that it says in that, but I'm going to, again, post this with the first article that we discussed in the first part of the show, guys, but because I'm curious to see what you guys think on the whole battle between voting rights, expanding voting rights, and voting restrictions, because it seems like Republicans are hell-bent on making it harder for a particular section of group of people to make it harder for them to vote than not so. I don't know. It's so much to unpack here. First off, with the big corporate company CEOs giving their take on things, obviously they said the right things. They had to, because they don't have a clientele that's just white. They also have a clientele that are made up of people of color, and they're corporations, so their main objective is to make as much money as they can. So yeah, to me, that's just what all that said there was, hey, we have to say the right thing because um, if we don't, it's going to affect our bottom line, and that's making money. As to MLB moving out of the state in due to protest of Brian Kemp's um, voter suppression bill, that's how I see it because that's what it is. Um, Kudos to them. I applaud them for taking that step. Honestly, it was a shock that they did that. I would have figured that NBA, who you know the game predominantly makes up more black people than it does white people. That's just um, statistically the truth of what I'm saying. And when it comes to baseball, the 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 players and the constituency is predominantly white. And so I was a bit shocked that they moved their All-Star game out of the the state of Georgia. But again, I absolutely support them 100% in doing so. Um, and I guess that kind of goes to show you the the evolution of uh, diversity in the game itself, and where we are as a as a country, as a world. Obviously, we have more to do and more to we have more to do as a country. We have more to accomplish in society. We have more um, things, barriers to break when it comes to equality and all sorts of things. I'm sorry, I just drew a blank there, but I just really think that the Republicans that are sitting up here talking about that these companies are jumping on the Democrats bandwagon of taking these measures of council culture and all this stuff is so freaking crazy, man. It's so crazy. And I honestly don't have honestly so dumbfounded. Like, I don't have the words to express the idiocy that the Republican Party is displaying to the world. I mean, it's bad. I mean, it's been bad in my opinion, but it's definitely gotten to a point to where like it's just like it's horrendous. Because they're just doing things in plain daylight. They're not hiding behind uh they're not hiding behind closed doors or whatever the case may be. They're just going full blast fascism mode. And to me, it's going to be detrimental to their party. But I think that these things that the like Mayor Bottoms is doing is right, trying to pass measures that's going to not purge voters is obviously a good thing. But what's going to have to happen is on a grander stage is Biden, the president of the United States, not Mayor Bottoms, is going to have to put his foot down and pass these important bills, such as the PRO Act, HR1. He's going to have to pass this because if he don't, then he's going to give the opposition party what they want, and that is to control um, voting measures how the way they want to control them, and that's having um, a certain group of people only being able to vote versus another group of people. And you see it by them only having one drop box in locations. Like they're taking away drop boxes. They're cutting down the time that you can request absentee in mail-in votings. I mean, they're doing things that makes it subsequently harder for you to vote than not. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. And Biden's administration, the Democrats, speaking more broadly, are going to have to start passing things through reconciliation. They're going to have to start passing things down party lines if they have to, because if the people want these things, if it says the Democrats overwhelmingly support these things, if it says Republicans overall support these things, I wouldn't give a damn what the Republicans politicians, I wouldn't care what they have to say. I would tell them to go look at their constituency, look at them and how they're allocating that they want these things. They're allocating that they want higher minimum wage. They're allocating that they want student loan forgiveness. They're allocating that they want universal health care. You know, they're allocating all these measures, and I just feel like the Democrats are still in their own way. And I mean, 2022 is right around the corner. And to me, the Republicans are just trying to stall, enough time to where midterms are coming, and they're going to probably be able to pick up a lot of more seats. And, the Democrats don't hold too many seats in the Senate. They only hold it's pretty much a dead tie in the Senate, So they need to get on the ball. Biden needs to get on the ball. The administration needs to get on the ball. The Democrats as a whole need to get on the ball, because it seems like the Republicans are trying to not unify around anything. It seems like they're just trying to pander to their base, their constituency, and that's just is what it is on that. So I'm curious to see what you guys think on that. When we come back, guys, we're going to close out the show. I'm sorry I sounded so, I don't know. I'm sorry that it was just such hesitancy in this part of the podcast, because I just don't know what the Democrats are waiting on in passing these consequential bills. And I don't really know what else to say when it comes to the Republicans, because if you don't see that they're not in it for everybody's best interests, then you're wrong. And in my eyes, that's how it is until I see otherwise. They're just in the way, and they're just trying to be defiant and trying to not have Biden pass any anything, not even infrastructure. They're even against Biden's infrastructure proposal. What happened to, the Democrats and the Republicans always being able to agree on infrastructure? Like, they're not even wanting to do that. So, but anyway, guys, when we come back, we're going to close out the show. Stay tuned. Love you guys. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I hope everyone enjoyed what they heard. A little rusty coming off that 2-week vacation, but I hope you guys do understand. I do appreciate all of you guys for continuing to listen and share the show. And I also want to apologize for the last segment. 5 to 10 minutes of that last part that I was discussing with you guys was sheerly ranting, because I was just lost for words. I was just completely dumbfounded, because the article that we were discussing, or the articles that we were discussing, it was just really highlighting everything that the Republicans are kind of known for now. Like, this is like their bread and butter now. They're not the old GOP party, the Reagan GOP party, or even the George Bush GOP party. It's a whole different other ball game with these new Republicans. They're actively trying to suppress the vote and make it harder for people, particularly people of color and poor people, to vote. It's just that plain and simple. And I'm also lost for words that the Democrats just seem to be twiddling their thumbs and, saying that it's wrong, but not acting on it. They're not doing anything that's going to mitigate these things that these Republican governors in these states, such as Georgia and Arizona and Michigan and so forth, that are trying to do. You have Mayor Bottoms out of the city of Atlanta introducing provisions to help mitigate this stuff, but it's only so much that she can do. You have to have the president to speak up, to do things that are going to enact the amount of change that we need to be enacted, such as passing HR 1 to expand voter rights, not restrict them. And so I'm afraid that it's going to be too late, and 2022 is going to roll around, and the midterms are going to roll around, and the Republicans are going to gain back power. And but if you have the Democrats saying all the right things and not doing it, then it kind of is what they deserve, right? But that's my thoughts on it, guys. That's how I was feeling about it. I'm sorry I didn't really convey that as well as I needed to in that last segment, but I'm just sometimes it's just speechless, right? So I hope you guys will understand that. But anyway, every Sunday at 4 p.m, a new show. I have a website now for you guys to check out. I would love if you guys would check that out. That would mean so much. If you have something that you want to discuss on the podcast, if you want to stay in touch with the show, if you want to help make the show, you can donate to the show if you like by making any amount contribution. It will help, again, make the stories matter a little bit more. You can do that all at The Progressive Vibe, 1-849-70366. theprogressivevibe184970366.wordpress.com. Again, that's theprogressivevibe184970366.wordpress.com. And again, I will link the articles. I will link my podcast website, everything with the episode, guys. So you should just be able to click on whatever you prefer, and it should take you right to the address. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. We will see you guys next week. Everyone stay positive, stay progressive, and we'll catch you in the next one.